Thanks for welcoming me back to the States. I just got back about 24 hours ago from a trip to Baghdad and Palestine and Israel. Very life-exchanging and life-changing experience being over there. And the reason that I went over there is because, like a lot of us here in America, we read the news every day and we feel like we're being lied to, we're being misled. But just because we know that we're being misled doesn't mean we're any closer to the truth. And so I went there because I got tired of hearing the voices of generals and politicians telling me what was happening. And I wanted to speak to people who were over there dealing with the war in everyday terms. So I went there with just my guitar and a group of friends and video camera. And we sat down and we walked through the streets and played music. And through the music we were able to speak directly with Iraqi people on the street. We were able to speak directly to U.S. soldiers. We were able to speak to people in occupied Palestine whose homes have been destroyed by Israeli Defense Forces. And we were able to speak with Israeli people who don't agree with everything that their government does, just like a lot of us don't agree with what our government does over here. I'm rarely at a loss for words, but today I'm so filled with emotion that it's very difficult for me to talk. And but I'll tell you a funny story to begin with. We first went to Amman, Jordan. And when we're in Amman, Jordan, it's the Hashemite kingdom of Jordan. And so I'm there with my pot-smoking buddies, and they're like, yeah, we're going to the Hashemite kingdom. Like the wizard, coming out with So we go to the Hashemite kingdom, and we're there for a couple of days. And by the end of it, I was like, man, kingdoms suck. I hate kingdoms. I hate this king who's here and ruling these people, and it's such an oppressive Muslim state, and everybody's got to cover up. And I couldn't wait to leave to go to Baghdad, where there is joy and light. So you get on this little 16-passenger plane, and when we go to check in, normally at the check-in counter in the United States, they ask you for your ID, they want to see your passport, they got a bunch of questions for you, go through screening and stuff. You go to get on a plane to Baghdad, they don't even check your ID. They go, what's your name? Yeah, you're on the list. Okay, forget it. They figure if you're dumb enough to go there, get on the plane. You don't even need to see your ticket. So we go to get on this 16-passenger plane. We get on the plane. There's no flight attendant because there's a small plane, but the pilot comes out of the cockpit and says his things you expect in the normal, here's how you do the seatbelt, here's how you undo the seatbelt, look in the folder, see all the people crashing, that's what you do if you crash, blah, blah, blah. He says, I want you to tighten your seatbelts down very tightly because when we arrive in Baghdad, I don't want you coming through the back of my door like a projectile. And we're thinking like, what is he talking about? He says, well, to avoid surface-to-air missile fire, we have to get above Baghdad, right above the airport, and dive at a 45-degree angle, corkscrew, straight down to the ground. So the whole flight, we're waiting for this thing. We fly 23,000 feet above the desert, and then we pass over Fallujah, and he says, look down. And you'll see the city of Fallujah. And you look down, and Fallujah is a city of about 75,000 people. And even from 23,000 feet, we could see whole areas of the city that have been carpet bombed, whole areas where it looked to be like apartment buildings, just normal city life for many blocks, 4, 5, 6 blocks that have been completely flattened and in a circular shape. Even before that, we got to the border between Amman, Jordan, and Iraq. And maybe one of the most stunning things on the trip I saw was the border between Iraq and Jordan, because you think out in the desert, how do they tell what the border is? Well, what there is out there is a line. It looks like Winston Churchill or somebody went out there with a big stick and just drew a line in the sand. It's a perfectly straight line in the sand that divides Jordan from Iraq. And at the end of the day, that's what all these people are fighting over. It's just lines that have been drawn in the sand. So after we pass over Fallujah, we get to Baghdad, and we look down, and the pilot says, there's the airport, and sure enough, you look straight down out the window, and there's the airport. And he says, here we go. So we start going on. So what do we do? You know, we're scared shitless, so the only thing we can think to do is, roller coaster, yeah! Nigga, man, if we get hit by surface air missiles, we may as well enjoy this motherfucker. We go down, we're going, and then the last minute he takes a turn the other day. We get off, and our pilots, who we got to know very intimately, the name of Conrad and Dougal. Sounds like a kid's show on Nickelodeon. Conrad and Dougal show. And anyway, we get off the plane and we kiss them and hug them. I have so much respect for pilots, now you would not believe it. Kiss them and hug them. Go to customs at the Iraqi airport. So before we left, I had got some of the lyrics to my songs translated into Arabic, because I wanted people there to be able to see what I was talking about. And so we had the song Bomb the World, which says, of course, you can bomb the world to pieces, but you can't bomb it into peace. We had it translated. So before we get on the plane in Jordan, my manager, Captain, says, you know what, guys, we got a big problem. I'm like, what? She goes, the lyrics. And I go, what, you forgot them? She goes, no, I have them. I'm like, what's the problem? She says, well, the title of the song, Bomb the World, is in English, and the rest of the words are in Arabic. So it's just a piece of paper that says, Bomb the World, with a bunch of Arabic writing. So we think, oh, great. We got to go through customs with 1,000 sheets of Bomb the World and Arabic writing instructions on how to bomb the world. And so what we do is, Captain says, I know what to do. What we'll do is we'll just tear off the part that says Bomb the World. We'll just bring the lyric sheet. So there we are in the airport. There's about 11 or 12 of us, all with a stack of about 10 pieces of paper, ripping the words Bomb the World up. And so it goes from just being like, oh, maybe we should keep this hush-hush, to suddenly, every security guard in the airport comes over to see what the fuck we're doing.